Hello and welcome to another episode in our special KBB Review podcast mini-series, which is dedicated entirely to meeting our Rising Star finalists ahead of the KBB Review Awards. I'm George Dean, and every month in the run-up to the awards in March, which is fast approaching by the way, I'm personally inviting you, yes you, to meet all 8 of our finalists for the Rising Star category. It's a category which is all about casting a spotlight on the exciting young talent across the kitchen, bedroom and bathroom retail industry. And because these are all fresh-faced young names in the sector, you'd be totally forgiven for not having heard about them yet. But there's a strong chance that each and every one of them this year is going to be a major industry figure in the near future. And this week, I'm really excited for you to meet Max Hitchcox, a very articulate young designer from Point 5 Kitchens. Now, those of you who've been paying attention might remember Point 5 was one of our adopted retailers for the past year or so, where we followed the studio on its journey to opening their second ever showroom. And as you're about to hear, Max's role is actually very closely entwined with the running of that showroom. So in a funny kind of way, this episode's a bit of a backdoor sequel to that story, and you'll find out why in just a second. But just before I speak to Max, I'd like to extend a massive thank you to our Rising Star sponsor Blum, who we've teamed up with once again to help introduce you to all 8 of this year's Rising Stars. The future of this whole industry relies on a steady stream of fresh faces coming into the sector. So of course, we're delighted to be working with Blum for another year to find out a bit more about the up-and-coming industry leaders of tomorrow. Let's get right into it and meet our 5th Rising Star, Max Hitchcox. Thank you so much for being here today, Max. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Not too bad. So I thought we would jump straight in, and as one of our Rising Stars this year, I wanted to find out how you came to enter the industry.
So it's a bit of a long story, but in school I was very arty, but also quite academic. So I was kind of looking for the right path, I guess. So in school I decided to go, okay, I'm going to go down the architecture route. And then from that point, I kind of made a bunch of mistakes and a bunch of the wrong decisions. And it's kind of led me to this point in a fun way. So I went to architecture. I did a year of architecture and I thought, kind of need a gap year out. That gap year turned out to be 2020.
When you say you did architecture, was that at college?
At university.
Oh, okay, so you did that and then you took a year out, which ended up being probably the worst time in all of history to do that.
Yeah. So 1 year became 2 years out. And then I did go back for a year. And then I thought, actually, no, I still don't enjoy this. So then from there, I came out of that and I was kind of looking what to do. I had a job handling 999 calls for a little while, which is sidetrack. Yeah. And then I fell into working for Wren. So that was still back in Scotland. Did about 4 months in Wren in Scotland. Opportunity came up to move to London. Moved to London. Did about another 6 to 9 months in Wren in London. And then on my 23rd birthday, I happened to walk into Point 5 Kitchens on Muswell Hill. I had a little headband on that said, this said birthday girl, actually. And I walked in and then, from there, about 3 months later, I started working for Point 5.
So what did you walk into the showroom for? Was it for a new kitchen or did you wander in by accident or?
So I was actually out with a couple of friends. We were going to get birthday lunch and I was kind of interested. So we just popped by and I thought, I kind of want to investigate what the next step up, get some inspiration for the kitchens that I'm doing. And then, ended up having a chat. And then from there, managed to get myself a job. So.
Oh, that's really funny because when you said in your email that you had a really strange sort of way of coming to that job, and I've seen that you'd just been at Wren, I was thinking that's not that strange. But no, I totally get what you mean now. Yeah. Oh, so you just walked in and was there a job going?
Not at the time, no. I mean, they knew that they were opening up the new showroom in Belsize Park, which is where I now work and where I am at the moment. So they were kind of looking to take people on, but no, they weren't actively employing. So it was kind of by chance that I ended up where I am at the moment.
So you basically talked them into giving you a job even though there wasn't one going?
Yeah, pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
So how many years of experience did you have with Wren then before coming over to Point 5?
Less than a year, actually. Less than a year. I was doing quite well once I moved to London. A lot of hard work, but I was selling a lot whilst I was at Wren. But I just wanted something a bit more inspiring, something a bit more creative, which is kind of...
without doing any disservice to Wren, the offering that Point Five does is in a totally different place in the market than what Ren does, and obviously the style is a little bit different as well. So was that sort of a little bit more up your street?
Yeah, there's a lot more freedom with the design here, which is what I enjoy. I enjoy the creative aspect, and I also really enjoy just engaging with people. That's kind of what I enjoy the most. So it's a good place to end up.
What is your day-to-day role then? Because obviously you're a designer, aren't you? But walk me through what the average day looks like for you. Because obviously you're in the new showroom most of the time, aren't you?
Yes, so it's kind of changed as I've gone on here. So when I first started, I was kind of working underneath our other designers, Manuel, Wojtek, and obviously Thompson Joe. So I was doing a lot of the kind of background work, a lot of the drawings, coming up with the kitchen drawings, the plans, all of that. But now as it's progressed, obviously the new showroom's open. I'm here a lot and I'm kind of engaging with customers a lot more, going through the entire design process. But every day is a little bit different. I mean, a lot of people have very different days in the kitchen industry. So, some days you're out the business, some days you're meeting people, some days you're just drawing. It varies day by day.
Because I guess what must have been really good for you is obviously you had that experience from Ren, but then you could have started in when Point Five only had that one showroom. I guess you had that whole team around you. But now I know that the team is basically split in two and you guys are sort of running between all the different showrooms. It's nice that you could kind of find your feet with the whole team. And now, like you said, your role's changed a little bit, hasn't it? And you're at that other showroom all the time.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, from when I started, they've really taken a lot of time to kind of build me up. I mean, also coming from Ren to Point Five, there's a lot more to learn. There's learning about all the different materials that I hadn't heard before, the different worktops, the different veneers, all of it. There's been a lot to learn, and over the past kind of year, that's what I've been gradually learning. Where now I'm in a point where I'm starting to put that into actual action, which is nice.
Because I think when I've spoken to the other rising stars we've had this year, a lot of them either they've been in another kind of design and they've come over to a studio and it's been their first job, or for a lot of them, the studio that they work in now is their first job. So, would you say working for an independent is different to what you expected? Because obviously, you must have thought you knew it all at Ren, because a kitchen's a kitchen. Really, many people would think, wouldn't they? Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely been a big learning experience, for sure. I mean, coming from Ren was a great experience actually. I also have another friend who's gone through the Ren pathway and she's moved on to another company now. But Ren is really good because it gets you used to speaking to people. You get used to engaging with people that you don't know. Whereas now it's been a lot more focused on, you know, the intricacies of design, like actually learning how cabinets are produced and how it's fitted and how everything's made. So it's learning about the entire process rather than just the engagement and design, which has been the biggest thing that I've learned from moving to Point Five.
Because I found it really interesting because for totally obvious reasons, a lot of independent retailers like Point Five, they're not very fond of Ren, obviously, because they're a huge chunk of the market up and down the country. But I actually think people who have done what you've done, who start at there or at Wix or at B&Q or at Magnet and then go to independent retailers, that's a really solid foundation to learn about the rest of the industry, isn't it? Because you learn all the basics there still, don't you?
Yeah, 100%. I think Ren was great for me from the start because I reflect back onto, the person when I first started my first days at Ren, kind of standing at the door trying to sell a kitchen. You don't really know what you're doing or speaking about, and you somehow got to engage with a stranger and get them to believe that you're the right person for their kitchen design to spend however much. And without that kind of push, I don't know how much I would have followed through the push to even have the confidence again to maybe have walked into Point Five and just speak to someone without that kind of foundation. I wouldn't have had that. So.
No, that, like I said, it's a perfectly valid place for anyone to start. But one of the things I really love about your entry to be a rising star this year, and I need to double check this with you because I can't believe it, is that Joe said that you currently contribute about 60% of the new kitchen designs. Would you say that's true?
I would actually, yeah. I
Yeah,
would.
I was hoping
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I would like I said, I was doing a lot of the background work. So Joe and Manuel and Thomas, they would sit the appointment and then I would get that information fed back to me and then I would produce the designs. So I was doing a lot of the kitchen designs for point 0.5 over the past year, I would say.
But like I said, I know that you've moved to the other showroom now, and there's certain staff there and certain staff back at the first one in Muswell Hill. But that's an incredible amount. Like 60% of design, is that for just that showroom or for the company as a whole?
I mean, so previously that's just that showroom. I mean, we've only opened this showroom about a month ago, so most of the designs over the past year would have been from Maswell Hill.
But that's an incredible step up though, from having just a couple of months of experience or just under a year experience at Wren, and then all of a sudden going to the majority of designs for an incredibly accomplished retailer as well, like Point Five. They clearly they trust your development and your knowledge an immense amount themselves.
Well, they did put a lot of trust in me, and like I said, especially Manuel and Vortic, they spent a lot of time helping me along with the process. Like the first 3 to 4 months, there was a lot of questions going their way for sure. Like I would do the design, and it would be that's not quite like this, that's not quite like that. But again, each design is kind of refining, and then you know where things go, you know what measurement cabinet is, all of these kind of things, and then I can have a little bit more um, freedom with the designs and a bit more creativity.
To be fair, they would have probably been absolutely horrified if you didn't ask any question whatsoever, and then you sort of started like floundering. I think that would have raised some alarm bells. And again, that's the only way you're going to learn anyway. It's the only way that anyone learns, isn't it? Would you say that point five? Because again, I know point five quite well because I've been following them for the past year for an article series. Would you say with everything going on with the new showroom, it's almost helped your career development? Because obviously everyone at point five is learning to do new things all the time as well because they've never had a second showroom before, have they? So is that like become like the perfect opportunity for you?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Even not even necessarily with the new showroom, every kitchen we do, there's something new to it. 'Cause no two kitchens are the same, so there's always something to learn, and they're always learning, which means that I'm always learning as well. So it's interesting to see where the boundaries can be pushed to. It's fun to see.
Yeah, and speaking of, one of the things I do know about Point Five is that along with you, they've taken on, is it one or two other members of staff?
At the moment, we've got one other member of staff, EG. He started maybe 5 to 6 months after I did. So he's now working in the Muswell Hill showroom.
One of the other things I really liked on your entry as well was Joe said that I need to actually get the specific wording here because I absolutely loved this. He said that you reshaped the way we present drawings to clients, creating a new visual standard that elevated design discussions. I mean, that's quite high praise as well. What is it you've actually done to sort of upend everything that Point Five does?
When I started, it was essentially like SketchUp measurements, and then you'd be given a final CAD plan with full details at the end, along with Enscape renders and the video. I started to use it was layout, so I'd use layout to give full presentations, as well as doing draft plans. But I think what Joe's guessing at, which has aided the most in the presentation, is because I was specifically given the task of rendering CAD plans and the drawings, I kind of have developed the rendering and the lighting and how we play with the materials to give much better visuals. Little things like watermarks on the drawings, all of those kind of additional elements, as well as like a sort of title page with the package and those kind of little elements that I've just picked up from doing them over and over again. A little bit more refinement.
Yeah, but again, for someone to come in with just a couple, just under a year of experience from Ren and to do that again, that speaks volumes to where you're going. Because if you're doing that now, and again, I know how established Point Five is and how they're always a finalist in our awards these days. Like I know they're a really accomplished business, and then for you to come in and still find ways to contribute so early on in your career, I think that really speaks really highly about where you're going as well.
Well, thank you for saying that. I mean, to me, it kind of I mean, it's nice to hear that. I think for me, it doesn't quite feel that way because for me, it's just day to day. Like I just come in, I do my job, I produce it the best I can if I have a little idea or I want to see how things can get improved. But again, that's how the company is. Like every time we're learning again, so it's kind of constant improvement.
And do they let you sort of put your own personal sort of spin on designs and things like that? Because again, I know that Point Five's design is very specific, and I know it's always sort of trend pushing anyway. But I know what a Point Five kitchen looks like, and it's lovely. But do they let you as well put your own stamp on things?
Yeah, they do. I mean, they don't always have that much choice because I'm the one drawing I'm the one drawing it. But obviously, I keep myself in the limitations of what they've discussed with the clients, and as well, there's interior designers involved, there's architects involved, there's obviously what the client wants. So I have my own ideas, and then there's the ideas of the client. So it's merging all of them really. But yeah, sometimes I'll see things and I'll think, oh, that could work a little bit better. So I put in, I do have some influence, for sure, but not the entire process.
No. Again, it would be kind of concerning if they were letting you do these like upside down kitchens, at this stage. But I do love that they give you the free reign to do what you want with it as well. That's really, really cool. The last thing I wanted to ask was just, with such a good foundation behind you already, where do you see yourself maybe going next? Is it, because again, I know that Point Five has this second showroom now. Is the plan maybe to have you take more control of design there, or is there going to be a third or fourth or 10th Point Five showroom? Or
you'd have to speak to Thomas and Joe about.
You can see me trying to fish for you can see me trying to fish for some exclusive there.
I think at the moment they're just focusing on this showroom and getting the showroom up and running. I don't think there's any plans in the near future to expand much further, but I do know that as this showroom expands, there'll be more people, more designers taken on board, and I hope to kind of progress with that to take on a bit more of a creative lead. I guess in the way that when I came to the company, I was, working underneath Manuel and Wojtek. I think as the company progresses, it's quite nice, give somebody else that opportunity, and then I'll have more of the client discussions because that's part of the job that I really enjoy.
Brilliant. Okay, well, that was everything I had to ask you about today ahead of our awards next year. So thank you so much for making time to speak with me today.
Perfect. Thank you very much for having me.
That's all right. And all that's left to say is good luck at the awards in March, and I'll see you there.
Perfect. I'm looking forward to it.